All right, back on the conversation. Great guest for you guys. Now, Diallo Brooks is a senior director for field mobilization at People for the American Way. Diallo, welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So now we're going to talk about Kristen Clark. She is up for leading the Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department, and she has run into significant Republican opposition. So first, can you tell us about Kristen?
Well, first of all, Kristen has a tremendous civil rights record. She's been a part of the civil rights community for a very long time and has been a very important advocate for civil rights and social justice for a very long time. And so it's an exciting time to see her be nominated for this particular position. We think she'll be amazing. We know her work from the past, but also like one really significant case is how she really drilled down and worked hard in Maryland to help them change their hate crime laws to make it more impactful in order to be able to prosecute around hate crimes. And there was a specific case, Richard Clark III, who was murdered by a white supremacist, and she utilized that case and helped the family to move that case and have hate crimes charged, and to push for some sort of justice in that particular case in Maryland.
So now I see why Republicans are opposed to her. But what's their excuse? So she actually prosecutes hate crimes. She actually wants to do civil rights. That's why she's arguably perfect for the position. So, but they usually come up with something invented. So what have they invented this time?
I mean, they've really been reaching. They tried to say that she was anti-Semitic. That's not true. They tried to blame her on being anti-police in actually a report that was actually forwarded that wasn't hers. And so they're just making up a lot of excuses to not confirm her, because really what they don't want to see somebody that's going to step into that very critical role at the Department of Justice that will work really, really hard for the people of this country to move forward civil rights and to make sure that the Justice Department prosecutes civil rights cases that come before it. And so it's important that we get her confirmed, but at the same time for them, they don't want to see that office become an effective office, an effective tool for justice.
Okay, so we just had a tie vote on her, and I want to ask how you guys are going to move on past that tie vote and how much trouble that is. But I just want to be clear with the audience. So the Republicans say she might be anti-Semitic. Let me give you a group of organizations that have backed her: the National Council of Jewish Women, the Anti-Defamation League, Union of Reform Judaism, and 79 different local, state, and national Jewish organizations. So obviously not remotely true. But that's never stopped Republicans before. And leading the charges, Mike Lee and Ted Cruz. So you get a sense of the veracity of these charges. And they had one other thing though, Diallo. They said she once wrote an editorial saying that police should be reformed. Wow, ooh, I didn't know she was that radical. So isn't the Civil Rights Division to some degree supposed to be concerned about police reform?
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be concerned about police reform. They're supposed to be concerned about voting rights, some of the critical issues of protecting citizens in this country. And so, we want to see a civil rights department in the Justice Department be effective. And she's somebody who could lead that department towards being effective. And so what we want to see is Leader Schumer in the Senate to bring a discharge petition to the floor to pull the nomination out of committee to be considered by the full Senate. We think she's the right person for the job. We are really fighting really hard to make sure that women of color are not trampled upon by these conservatives in the legislature. The GOP has kind of rallied around their super right-wing conservatism, and we want to make sure that the Justice Department is effective. She is a brilliant lawyer. She's a brilliant advocate for justice, and she needs to be confirmed, and she should be confirmed. There's no reason why she shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, I knew about her nomination well before this, and her credentials looked excellent, and I supported it. But the more the Republicans opposed her, the more I became in favor of her, because the dynamic, honestly, is this is the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. So whoever is more qualified and more likely to do a good job, they will be more opposed to, not less opposed to. They don't want the Civil Rights Division to function in the Justice Department. So if they're fighting her tooth and nail, that means they think she's definitely the right candidate, and they're worried. So now let's talk through a little bit more what happens in the tie. In committee, all the Republicans vote no, it's 11-11. And did any Democrats vote no?
No. So what needs to happen is it was a vote along party lines, deadlocked, and so what we need is the majority leader, Chuck Schumer, to actually file a discharge petition, and that would move the vote to the floor, or pull the nominee to the floor out of the committee, so the full Senate can actually have a vote to consider her nomination. And so that's what we hope is the next step. That should be the next step to move this process forward. We know that Republicans are lining up together and locking arms together to block any nominee that's put through, and it's very troublesome to see the level of pushback against women of color, particularly as they are going through the nominations process. She's definitely qualified to do the job. They know that, and that's why they're against her.
She'd be the first woman of color to lead the Civil Rights Division, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and so Diallo, now you got me a little worried. Is there any reason why Chuck Schumer wouldn't bring it to the full Senate floor? Is that still in question? I'm trying to figure out, because you never know with Democrats.
Yeah, you never know, but we have confidence that Leader Schumer will do the right thing and move it forward. It's in his best interest to do that. I think he understands where we are in this process. He also understands the obstruction that the other side is pushing forward. All of us are reaching out to make sure that he understands that we support moving her forward. We accept nothing less than seeing her move forward, and we have confidence that she will move forward, and the Senate will vote to confirm her. She's the right person for the job. She's done this work. She knows the work. And she understands what it takes to lead that particular office of the Justice Department.
Look, I'm gonna keep it real here because that's what I do. I'm not a big fan of Neera Tanden, but even for Neera Tanden, I was like, you can't let the Republicans decide who your cabinet is or who your important government officials are. So if folks had real reasons to oppose Neera Tanden, but Republicans didn't have him, right? Like Republicans had the same fake reasons, progressives had real reasons, etc. But I would have fought even on that ground, let alone Kristen Clark. They can't let Republicans veto a woman of color for the Civil Rights Division that has this good a record. They just can't let that stand. So, Diallo, how can people help? Can people, participate somehow to push this forward?
Yeah, folks can definitely participate. One is to call your senators and make sure that your senators know that it's really, really important to move her nomination forward. People for the American Way has been involved in Her Fight, Our Fight campaign, which is really pushing forward these women of color nominees. We did an incredible video on Kristen Clark that really kind of tells her story. So if folks continue to share that video, which you can find on our website. But like I said, it's really to call in to the Senate, let them know that she is the person that we want to see leading the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, that they need to move forward on this, call Leader Schumer, encourage him to move forward on this, and understand that there's a large community that are working together to make sure that this nomination moves forward. And so, join that echo chamber, tweet, call, do whatever it takes to help move this forward.
Yeah, people for the American Ways have been great on Kristen Clark and all these great nominees. So less than a minute left, real quick. if she's in the Civil Rights Division, what are some things that she could actually get done that people can be excited about?
Well, one of the key things is we're looking at a crisis around policing in this country. And so we really need to reimagine public safety, and we need to also have a Justice Department that's willing to step up around policing issues and hold police accountable for their misconduct and mistreatment of communities. Secondly, we're also in a crisis around voting rights in this country. And so having her front and center will be very critical in moving forward to protect our voting rights as a country. And so, having her on the scene for just those two particular fights is really critical for making sure that our government actually functions the way it's supposed to function, as to protect the people. Our Civil Rights Department is there to make sure that people's civil rights are not violated. And when they are, they're there to hold folks accountable. And she's the type of person that will make sure that that happens.
All right, Diallo Brooks from People for the American Way. Thank you for joining us, appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.